Welcome to Iconic News. And obviously, we're in this corona crisis situation where everybody's locked down at home. So this is becoming more and more important, this sort of video interview. So with me today, I have Ken Emmanuel of Personal Wills for You. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
How are you doing? Are you all right? How's your health?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. We're avoiding the plague. Fortunately, yeah. We're totally self-isolated, and
yes, yeah.
The only person we see is usually the postman when he delivers mail.
Yeah, it's the same here. Same here. I mean, it seems rather biblical, actually, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
We've had the fire, we've had the flood, we've had the pestilence. Now we've got the plague. So
absolutely, and it's very opposite because it's our Jewish Passover.
Yes, I know. I heard that.
With the all the plagues on the Egyptians.
Yes, well, that's what I'm referring to.
Yes.
So did you celebrate?
Not really. I mean, because it was just my wife and I as celebrants. And
right.
Unfortunately, but that's life.
That's life, isn't it? Yes, isn't it that sort of,
Yeah.
So, right. Just going to ask you a couple of questions, really. So, how long has Personal Wills for You been helping people with their wills and their lasting powers of attorney?
Okay, so I started the company in 2011, so I've been going some 10 years, and started off just doing wills, and then a couple of years later started introducing lasting powers of attorney. So over the years I've done well over 2,000 wills and hundreds of lasting powers of attorney. And that continues to grow. Even this morning, I had an inquiry about 4 lasting powers of attorney from somebody who says, I want to do them, but my business is producing zero income. So call me in August when hopefully all this is over.
Well, let's hope they kind of remain safe in that that extensive period. Fingers crossed.
Yep.
Because it is a little, excuse me, it is a little bit worrying, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
What kind of clients do you deal with?
Well, all sorts of clients. Clients, they range in age from the early 20s up to the 90s. I recently did a lasting power of attorney for the husband was 99, 2 months off his 100th birthday. And of course, so a lot of my clients have young children, so the accentuation for them is on guardianship, which is very, very important.
Right.
But clients of all ages.
Okay, cool. What was it that? Sorry, excuse me. What was it that inspired you to do what you do? Why do you do what you do? You talked about your retirement, but was it a particular instance?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that I was working in sales and marketing. I've been doing that for 20 or 30 years. And then I was thinking, what am I going to do when I retire? Because, I want to do something positive. And I was talking to an accountant pal of mine who said, why don't you do will writing? And that got me thinking. And of course, I'd always worked for other people before, but never worked for myself. So it was quite daunting setting up one's business, but I realized I was going to be working in a profession where there was a great need. After all, 60-70% of the population haven't done wills.
No.
So there was a market for that. And it's really, the statistics, I do not believe they don't lie, definitely.
No.
So I did about 20 or 30 years in sales and marketing, and previously I was in the legal profession, doing that for about 15 years. So bringing those 2 areas together, I felt would give me an advantage over other competitors who just did wills themselves.
You've actually answered the question I was just going to ask you, actually, off the script. Do you have any legal training? So
yes, yeah. I mean, I qualified as a lawyer in 1970, And so I was in general practice for about 15 years, and then I changed careers to go into sales and marketing, and sort of never looked back ever since. And I've got no at all, judging by what's happening in the legal profession today.
Right. And I mean, with wills, was there a specific kind of changeover that you had to make in terms of reviewing your legal experience?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I needed to bring myself up to date. I joined the Society of Will Writers early on, and I took a correspondence course and then took their exam, which gave me a great insight in what was going on. Inheritance tax had changed over the years, or I think when I started doing it, it was called estate duty. Now it's inheritance tax. So I needed to update myself with what was going on there. And it wasn't too difficult to make the transition.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
cool.
worked pretty well ever since.
So other people might kind of not have enough experience to do that, because obviously you've got your legal background, and if someone starts off doing wills, they're going to have to learn it from scratch, really, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. But um, I'd done 15 years in the law doing it was in general practice, so doing conveyancing, litigation, wills, probate, matrimonial. And I think with that legal background, especially in the property area, you need to know the difference between joint property, either joint tenancy or tenancy in common, and that is fundamental. And if you don't have that sort of knowledge, you're going to struggle.
Yes, and I think that's you've been very lucky to kind of extend something that you did in your career into a kind of
Absolutely, yes, yeah,
further
sure,
career. So next
yes.
question. Next question. We've talked a little bit about who your market is, but did you want to go into more detail about who your target market is? Because you talked about the age.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, for example, um, I'm surprised how older people haven't done wills, and so they're a very good source of business. Lasting powers of attorney are ideal for the older generation, where, for example, if you've got a widower, divorcee, single person who has a single bank account, and they are potentially vulnerable. If they lost capacity, any bank account would be frozen. So they're the type of clients who would definitely need wills. And I think it's brought home to me with this current virus problem, the benefits of having these lasting powers of attorney for financial matters. If it's an elderly person or persons who are self-isolating and they cannot get out, cannot get to the bank, cannot get to the cash point, cannot get to the supermarket or pay bills, and having their attorneys being able to look after all of that for them is a real boon, and it highlights the real benefits of having these lasting powers of attorney in place.
Yeah. And no, I remember when my mother died. Excuse me. My father had already died, and then my mother, she became very ill. She had a stroke, and she was hospitalised for 11 months before she died. And we tried and tried and tried to get the LPA through, and it only came through after she'd died. So is that a kind of standard length of time, or can it be done quicker, particularly in this environment?
No. The standard time is about 2 months, and in fact, because a lot of the office of the public guardian workers are working from home, it's taking longer.
Yes.
You cannot curtail that timescale. What the main reason is that they have to give note. You have to have a notice period of 28 days, which is prescribed by statute, and you cannot curtail that at all. So
Right.
it will take at least 8 weeks, and probably longer now.
Yes. Yes. Because for us it took 11 months, and we never got it through until after.
Oh, it shouldn't have taken 11. Shouldn't have taken 11 months.
Well, I wish I'd
If
known you then,
everything,
Ken.
yeah, yeah. It's the timescale you cannot curtail, but anything should, provided you've got everything right and you don't make mistakes. A lot of people who think, well, they'll do these things online. If they step out of line, they get the time scales wrong, then they'll throw it back them, and it can take even longer.
Which is, of course, why they need someone like you who knows what they're doing, really.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. I
So,
like to think so.
well, yes. Case studies. Obviously, people are going to be concerned about the situation now. Have you got any case studies that you could share with how you've helped somebody? Because you were talking to me the other day
Oh, well,
about
okay. So
how you signed the wills. Are you talking
I
about the
can,
garden?
I can, yeah. I mean, I just think of one situation involving. She was 63. She was divorced. She had a partner but a single bank account, and up to then her health was fine. Then one day, out of the blue, she had a major stroke. Right hand side of her body was paralyzed. She was bedridden. She couldn't access her laptop, couldn't access her smartphone. She had two daughters, one in Spain, the other on the other side of London. And so she couldn't get out to a cash point. When I saw her, the only saving grace was her mind was still active, and somehow or other she was able to give instructions for me to do her lasting power of attorney. But of course, it took months before it came through. And in the meantime, her daughters helped her out financially. And when it came through, they were able to go to the bank and withdraw money to pay themselves back for the money they laid out. And that sort of highlights the real benefits of these. But at the moment, with the virus, a lot of people have been coming to me and saying, right, we were thinking of getting round to doing our wills, but a lot of people are dying, and I think we ought to have them done now.
Yes.
I'm very, very, very busy, believe you me.
So we talked about the way you did it the other day. You talked about being in the garden and witnessing, because obviously it's that we're in a lockdown situation. No one can come to the house unless they're a key worker. So how do you have to have witnesses for wills and things like that? So how are you going with that?
Well, this is a major, major difficulty, because for a will to be legally valid, it has to be signed, dated in the presence of two independent witnesses who are present at the same time. Now, of course, if you are self-isolated, you cannot have the people in your presence. So I've had to be quite imaginative. Yesterday I was on a WhatsApp video supervising the signing of a will, so that the clients were signed their will. With the two witnesses were on the other side of the road. They deposited the will in the boot of their car. The witnesses came over. They signed as witnesses. Then they retreated to a safe distance. Then the clients took up the signed and witnessed will in front of the camera, and I was able to scrutinize and make sure it had been done properly. I'm doing that because I don't trust people, because it's very tempting for them to say, well, we need two witnesses present at the same time. I'll go get one witness to sign today and the other witness to sign tomorrow. And I wouldn't have a clue, but at least if I know it's done properly, I can record it on my file notes to say that I've witnessed it being done properly.
Because what people don't want particularly in this situation, is that there's been an issue with, I do know one person, not from this situation, from somebody I used to know from years ago, whose father was in hospital, and he gradually lost mental capacity, and he'd got a new partner, who then got the doctors to get him to change the will at the last minute, and she had a fight for years and years and years to try and get her house back, and then she lost out. So it's so critical to get it right.
Yeah, and particularly where there is an element of doubt as to capacity, and you have to be very, very, very careful, and you really need medical backup to confirm that the person does have the capacity to do a will, or indeed a lasting power of attorney. So many people who've got dementia, and the advice I always give people is that if a person has early stages of dementia, they can still do their lasting power of attorney, but they should get it done early, rather than when it's too late. And the problem is that if you don't have a lasting power of attorney in place, and a bank account is frozen, you have to apply to the Court of Protection to appoint a deputy, a process of which takes 9 months at least, costs an absolute fortune. You do not want to go along that route, so get it done early.
Exactly. This is what she had, because her father had Alzheimer's, and he was gradually deteriorating. Right. And somehow this kind of got the doctors to agree that he was sound of mind and signed the house over to her. So this daughter lost half the house. And she had a fight, and it went all the way to the High Court, and she still lost out.
Yeah,
so, right.
It's so easy for these things to come, and you have to be very, 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 very careful.
Exactly. Right, excuse me a minute. So, now you mentioned to me that you do a lot of your business is through word of mouth, which obviously is good because you've got a large circle and large network. But if people were to see this video and wanted to contact you, how would they be able to contact you, Ken?
Well, I've got my wwebsite, which has got my personal details, and my website is www.personalwillsfigure4.co.uk, and that's got my phone number, my mobile number, landline mobile, and email address.
Okay, so do you have any social media outlets as well?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn.
Oh, you're on LinkedIn. Okay.
I'm on LinkedIn and also on Facebook. But I have to confess that social media is a mystery to me. But the thing is this, that I get so many referrals. I don't need to use social media as perhaps I should do.
Yeah, so well, at least people, if the people know that your website is there, they can find your phone number and then give you a call.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah.
What I would do is I will put that on the when I do the graphics, I'll put that on for you. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I'm
happy one last thing, Ken.
Yes, go on.
Is there a fun fact you would like us to know about, or maybe not know about? Because I know I do know a secret about you, but
yeah. So I've run for the last 30 to 40 years. So I've done 5 London marathons.
That's amazing.
I've also did the New York in 2013 in just over 6 hours. And I still go running, and this lovely weather is ideal for it. I'm so pleased that I haven't had to run in wind and rain. The other thing also that my wife and I, we still love, even in our 70s, we still love disco dancing.
Oh, really? Oh, right. So you're a bit of a dancer, are you? Kind of that way?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Have you got the white suit, Ken?
No, I haven't got the white suit. Yes, but whenever we can, we do. So my wife actually, when we met, she used to go ballroom dancing.
Oh, lovely.
And so I got roped in on that, and I think she's got a silver medal, and I've got a bronze medal.
So we're going to see you on Strictly at some point.
I doubt it. Very much doubt it. Not at all. Yeah.
It's been lovely chatting, Ken, and I hope you're kind of safe and well and everything. And
no, we're fine.
Good.
Coping with it.
Yes.
And you too as well.
Yep, I'm fine. It's kind of more of the same really, because I work at home a lot anyway.
Yes.
So it's just kind of not seeing people outside that's a difficult thing.
What I would say is, of course, it's not. I work from home anyway, and all my appointments with clients are via WhatsApp video.
Yes.
So wherever the clients are in the country, it doesn't matter.
No.
Because I'll communicate with them via WhatsApp.
Yes.
And as I mentioned earlier, the supervision of the wills is done by WhatsApp video, so it works out pretty well for me. It's not a problem.
It's excellent, isn't it?
Yeah, right. It's wonderful. And also you've got Zoom as well.
Exactly. So that's where we are now. So yes. I think we're just about done. So is there anything else you wanted to add very quickly before we finish up? No.
I think I've covered most areas that you've asked me about.
Well, keep safe and happy Passover.
Thank you.
I don't know what the Hebrew phrase is for it, but
sometimes they say good Yom Tov.
Okay.
That's a good Yontov is sort of happy. Yeah, you know, happy. It's a festival, and it's. I mean, the thing about Passover I like is the food.
Oh yes.
The matzahs and all that
Right.
paraphernalia. But we've been very limited this year because my wife would have gone to the delicatessen and bought
Yeah.
a lot of extra stuff. But we've got a moment.
Yeah. Well,
Fair to
let's
say.
finish up because I'm beginning to lose your signal, Ken. You went a bit.
Okay, I'm still here.
Okay. So we'll just finish up, and that was really nice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome,
And
and I'd look speaking to you again soon.
okay, well, take care, Ken. Cheers. Bye.
Bye. All the best.